All right, what's going on, guys? It's Noah for the third weekly annual F1 Car Talk. I am joined by a very special guest in the F1 community. I'm joined by Justin, if you want to say hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, this is a guest I was very much looking forward to. So, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, talk about how you started collecting cards or any collectibles in general, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. Well, I've been into F1 since the late 80s, and I've also been into cards since the late 80s. So I was born in 1981. Probably a little younger than a lot of the guys in the Discord, but still young. I'm not 40 yet. So anyway, but basically, I used to collect Australian rules football cards, which I'm sure some of the Aussie guys will know what I'm talking about. And then I got into American sports cards in the early 90s. I think it was just before the USA Dream Team
Okay.
in 92. I think they kind of globally just, got everyone into basketball, and that helped obviously with cards as well. And being in Australia, we had basketball cards. We didn't have football cards. We didn't have any baseball cards, but everyone went mental for basketball cards. And
Yeah.
then come the mid 90s, I was sort of phasing out of it because I was getting towards those like later teenage years. So
Yeah.
I sort of got out of cards, and then spent a whole decade playing in bands. So I had nothing to do with sports cards at all. I still loved sports, but I didn't have any cards. Like I didn't own a card. I literally got rid of everything.
Hmm.
But I was always a sports nut, and then come 2012, I moved to America. I was living in New York City, and I basically stumbled upon a card shop down near Wall Street, actually, and it was like a comic book store slash card shop. And I walked in there, and I saw these boxes of cards on the shelf, and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." Cards like had all this nostalgia come back, and I bought a box of hoops basketball. I think it was hoops, 2012 hoops.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because at this point in time, I didn't know you could get autographs, you know, in packs or anything.
Yeah.
I really did. I really the hobby had changed so much since when I was collecting back in the day, and there was numbered cards and there was parallels, and so I really just opened this box and I didn't even know what to really look for. I mean, I knew what players to look for, but I didn't know what was like a rare card. Obviously, an autograph, I knew that's something special, but
Yeah.
it was really fascinating for me to see like these numbered cards. Oh, okay, so now you can have cards numbered to 10. All right. Whereas when I was a kid, it was the junk wax era, so everyone had everything. So it was that was the thing that kind of reeled me back in, was knowing that you could get like an autograph or a one of one or something special in this box. So anyway, fast forward 2012 till now, I've been in it pretty much full on. Have been through all the sports, mainly basketball and football, but now obviously F1 because we finally have product.
Yeah.
But I'll get on to the F1 stuff now. So that's the collecting thing. I could go on about it, but oh well. F1, like I said, my dad went to the first Grand Prix in Adelaide before it moved to Albert Park
Oh
in
yeah.
Australia. The Adelaide Grand Prix in 1986, I think it was. I was probably like 5 or 6, and
Okay.
he bought me back a little toy F1 car. So that was like my first ever memory of Formula One, and then we used to watch all the races were recorded in Australia. It's been pretty big for a long time, Formula One, because we don't have anything like IndyCar or anything. So it was like the open, the car's not closed in. It's like guys like in these little four-wheel go-karts, but on
So
steroids.
I'm gonna
And
jump in real quick because
yeah,
so from what I know in Australia, aren't the only other like main racing series what V8 supercars?
yeah, the V8 supercars, which they're incredible. If you ever see them for real, which I have seen them, I've been to races. They're like these massive, bulky, big cars, but they can fly, and the noise
Yeah.
that comes out of like when they're on a straight, like they're these basically tanks, but they just fly. And so we had the V8 supercars, which was really popular, but we didn't have IndyCar or anything like that. So F1 was always where guys like Mark Webber, whatever,
Yeah.
They have to go to Europe, and then it's like, all right, let's try and get into Formula One. So that was always popular. And then, so I watched it all through my youth, my teenage years, and then I think it was about 2001. I went to Melbourne for the first time with my family, and my brother and I, we went to Albert Park, and the race wasn't on. This was in off season, but Albert Park's like it's an actual park, and
Yeah.
you can walk the whole track. You can walk the track. There's no fences and nothing. Like if you go there when it's not race time, it's just like a normal park.
Yeah.
So my brother and I thought, oh, let's go down to Albert Park and we'll just walk the track. Which was cool because I'd never been to an F1 race at this point in time. I'd watched tons of races. So we went to the track, we walked it, and that was awesome. But then the next year, Mark Webber got his drive with Minardi in F1. And that was when I really started to get fully hardcore into F1, was 2002. And in his first ever race, he finished 5th in a Minardi, which Minardi were like Haas. So imagine like
I'm
a Haas
not
car.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest history guy, but I do remember how significant that was for F1,
Yeah.
especially Australians, how big that was.
Yeah, and like he only signed like a 2-race contract. Basically, they said, "We'll give you like 2 or 4 races. I can't remember what it was, and we'll see what you can do." And he finished 5th. And back then, you only got points if you finished in the top 6. So you didn't get points if you finished 8th or 10th. So that was like a huge deal for him to finish 5th in his first ever race. Was massive. And then basically they just said after the race, you can drive for the rest of the season. Like honestly, like you just got us some points.
Yeah.
You can have the seat for the rest of the year. So that got me back into it. And then 2003, I remember got in, and then I went to the Australian Grand Prix in 2004. I flew from Perth, where I'm from, to Melbourne for my first ever race, and which was amazing because they had the V10 engines back then.
Oh yeah.
So it was just, they were loud. They were so loud. Like you had to wear like headphones at this race.
Yeah.
And just the smell and everything, and that, it's like any sport. The more you go to a game like that, it just builds your love for the sport. When you're there and you see it for real, it just grows your passion. So
yeah.
And then I went again in 2006 to Albert Park, which I saw Alonso win. Alonso's my favorite all time F1. So that was great. I got to see Alonso win. And then I moved to America in 2012. Like I said, got back into the cards. There was no F1 cards. Well, there was the Futura and all that stuff from a while back. But I didn't really know about that at the time because I wasn't in cards. But anyway, I got back over here, and then I moved to Austin in 2017 from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then I went 2017, 2018, 2019 to the US, and I went 2018. Me and my brother, who lives in Arizona, we went to the Canadian Grand Prix in 2018 as well, which was that was awesome. That was really fun. So yeah, I've just been into F1 for a long time, and I'm just so glad they Tops finally were the ones to say, hey, we'll bring in we'll buy the license and bring out some cards, So
yeah,
it's cool.
That was
really cool.
Like I've said it before, but like I remember like when I started looking for like F1 cards the first time, I couldn't find it, and I was like, the cow has nobody licensed F1. Like at least like you'd figure like at least like even like a smaller company would have like licensed them at some point. But not even like a smaller company took that dive until Topps finally did it. And I remember like when I saw that, I was like excited because like I'm mostly a baseball guy, so like Topps has always been like my like company.
Yep.
So like that was always like the cool thing. I was like, oh nice, like Topps. It'll be like the same flagship design as baseball. Like that was something I was really interested in.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest with you, man, I personally think Topps make better cards. Not so much this Topps Chrome, as we all know, this F1 release. But I've always thought Topps made better cards than Panini, like better designs, better quality. Like Topps Chrome, usually baseball. Not that I'm a big baseball guy, but I remember opening Bowman cards, like where you get the Chrome autos and Topps Chrome baseball, and I'm like, man, these cards just look so nice. So hopefully the next release they get the manufacturing right, but it still looks, the cards, as you and all of us know look great. Like this year's F1 Chrome, like the design, I think they probably could have used a couple of different pictures, as some have said. Like some of the pictures are a bit
Yeah,
samey, but overall, I mean, for the first release, if they didn't have all those manufacturing issues, I mean, this stuff would just be insane, you know. So, but yeah, I agree with you, man. It took a while. I used to say to people a lot too. For years, like even 5 years ago, I remember saying like, when is someone gonna Panini or someone gonna get
yeah.
the F1 license, because it's a global sport and it's so it's so corporate. Like there's so much money in Formula One, and there's a lot of millionaires and people who are into the sport. And I always thought it was really random that no one till now took advantage of that. You know?
Yeah, I was the same way. And like, I don't want to dive in too much into Tops and Panini because like that's not my biggest thing. But like, I've always like, I think the main reason why I've always been on Tops is like I don't know how to explain this. Maybe you'll know, but like Panini always just feels lazy to me because they always come out with like Select and Prism and all the same products.
Yep.
And year over year, like I feel like there's not like ever like a big difference between how they all look.
Yeah.
Like from like 2017 to 2020 Prism, like
Yep.
if I know the players on them, so like I know what year is which. But like if I didn't like if you gave me like four of like a random like LeBron base, like if he was on the
Yep.
same team, like I don't know if I would have been able to tell you what year is which because they all look the same. Which is like I
Yeah.
like Tops because like if I look at a product, like a
Yep.
lot of like maybe like the 60s and 70s, I still get mixed up a little bit. But like from
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
last 20 years, if you show me a product, I can tell you what year it is, which is really helpful. And because they all have
Yep.
like, there's been one or two designs over the past few years that I've not been a fan of with them, but like for the majority, like I really love the designs they come up with because like they just feel like how cards should be. Like I mean, it makes sense because they're Tops. That's what they've done it
Yeah.
the longest. But like, there's nothing quite like for me like when flagship comes out. I always try to buy flagship like the series one every year
Yeah.
just for like that new
I,
experience, like that new like year you're gonna have from Tops, which I really like.
Yeah, well, that I agree, and you know what? This year's tops, I found is probably my least favorite, just because the names of the players are so
Yeah,
small, and for someone like me, like I'll admit, like I'm not a big baseball guy, so I mean, I know what Mike Trout looks like, I know who Atani is, whatever, but a lot of these guys, if I see a picture of them, I don't straight away go, oh, I know who that is, so I have to look at the name,
yeah,
and the front of this year, I was like really like, whoa, what? I can't even read that. So, but every other year, I've found it to be awesome, and like I said, I just think it's kind of weird what's going on now as well with the whole Tops, losing the baseball licensing thing, which is
yeah,
another thing we could talk about. But you know, hopefully with F1 going forward, if they have the license, let's hope they just keep pumping out like the good. Hopefully this makes them raise their standard of product as well instead of like quality, because if this
yeah,
is their only sport with soccer that they're sort of relying on to make money, they're going to have to make sure that they keep good quality, awesome designs. Like this might be a good thing, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe Tops are going to fall under. I honestly don't know.
So yeah, I
It's,
figured like we could save that for last because like I know a lot of people have already heard about it. So like, I figured like I'll save that for last. So, like,
yeah,
but
cool.
I wanted the one thing I did want to say about like the designs before I kind of jump into like some specific cards
Yep.
are like it's funny because every year like for the past 4 or 5 years I've been on Twitter to see the reactions to all the different designs. And it's
Yep.
funny to see how the designs always like like from like when the first reveal is compared to how they are. Because like I remember in 2018 when Topps announced their Series One, people for some reason hated 2018 Topps' design. Which
Yeah.
like when it came out, like I thought that was my favorite, like one of my favorite. It's still one of my top five designs ever from Topps. But I remember
Yep.
for some reason, like after like because I was somebody who hated 2017, so like because there was no life, it was all gray. So I loved it, and like even like when 2021 announced, the one thing people said was they love the design, but they hate the names are so small.
Yeah.
And like it was kind of different for me because like I know majority of the players because like baseball's my thing, so like it doesn't bother me as much. So like the one I really hated was 2020, which is what this design is for Formula One, because I hated the sideways names.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was
It's funny.
the one thing.
I actually personally like the design, but I get it what you mean with the sideways names, which is something I haven't really thought about until now. You
Yeah.
saying that? but I kind of like the side panel, and I don't know, it's not too complicated, which. But at the same time, yeah, the name being sideways is a little odd.
No, it's definitely. I can say it's definitely grown on me because like there have been a few like I'm not gonna even dare say iconic cards, but there's definitely been some cards that like stand out like really well with the sideways. Like I know you're not the biggest like baseball guy, but like Luis Roberts, card design from 2020 Series Two, like
Yeah,
he's in the White Sox, the black jersey with like the black
yeah,
like side, like it works. But there are some
yeah,
other guys where like it just doesn't work because it kind of comes out like that
yeah,
gray. So if your team's not really like a white or a black, it kind of comes out looking funny.
yeah,
But like I mean,
yeah.
like
That
Sapphire solved it, but like that was my big concern with like the paper products.
yeah. Well, that Robert card, I pulled one of the gold
Oh yeah,
parallels of the paper, and yeah, it's one of my favorite modern baseball cards. I think the black, the White Sox, it just looks cool. Like that picture, I just think it looks solid and bold, and yeah, it's cool. I know what you mean though. Like it's the sideways writing. I mean, it's odd, you know. And now that you've pointed out to me, I'm like, it is kind of odd that they have like the name sideways going up, you know. So
yeah.
yeah,
All right, so what I so I mean you've seen a few episodes. What I wanted to do is like I pulled up like four or five kind of things to talk about, just like certain
cool.
cards, certain players. I kind of use them as like jumping off points for different discussions.
Yep.
Whether you think like I kind of like will say what the card is, the price, then it kind of goes from there. So
Cool. Yeah.
one of like so like the first one I found right away that I wanted to look at was Charles Leclerc because like I feel he's really undervalued. Like for
I
just
agree.
for buying him. So like I pulled up a specific example because I recently bought not this exact card, but like not the one that I'm showing like on the screen, but like I bought a like you know I'm doing like the out of 70 like out of 70 drivers.
Yeah.
So I just bought the Leclerc out of 70.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
I when I bought it for $250, which I thought was like a really good price to pay. And then
That's an awesome price.
And then
Really good
yeah,
price.
it turns out that there was an auction going on at the time, and it was like I don't want to like I hate waiting for auctions. Like it just started; it was gonna be 7 days. I was like, like it's fine. And it turns out
Yep.
this Leclerc that the auction that was numbered to 70 sold for $175. So I could have saved
Wow.
75, and even like this, I couldn't. I saw this, and this jumped out to me for 175 for a Leclerc number to 70.
Wow. Yeah. That's a good deal for whoever won that.
Yeah,
Honestly, like I think Leclerc. It's funny because I know the last year and a half he hasn't had the results that people are. You know
yeah,
what's going on, and honestly, I honestly think with F1, I've talked about this for years with people. It's 90% car, like 10% driver,
yeah.
basically. And if you don't have the car, like you could be like Charles Leclerc in 2018, I think, no, 2019, his first year at Ferrari.
Hmm.
He won races, like he had races where he should have won, and then he had like failures. Like he was amazing his first year at Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
And you know, like now with the cards, it's kind of like right now he's not doing a lot, but I think Charles, his prices are just wow. I mean, so low. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
think out of all the young guys like Lando, George, Charles, I think Charles is easily the best value for money.
that's why like yeah like I'm like as much as I'm building like this like the 70 collection like I honestly like after I'm honestly might take a pause to it and just start buying Leclerc stuff because like for the
Yeah,
prices you can get like I saw his Sapphire base card
yeah,
like you could buy it all day for like 50 to $40. And like Lando and Russell's are going for like at least double that, maybe even close to triple now. I haven't checked their prices, but like
yeah,
for a third of the
yep,
price, and like I say this, I feel like I say this every week. Ferrari just like it's kind of like the joke to say Ferrari doesn't know what they're doing always.
yeah,
But like when Ferrari gets a car right, they are really good.
yeah.
So like that's
Well,
why
I mean,
like and like I know they're saying they're gonna bring in like a I think it's like an upgraded engine the second half of the year. And since F1's so like the card market's kind of like so what have you done in the last like four or five races? If Ferrari
yeah,
brings like an upgraded power unit and they rattle off like Charles rattles off 2 to 3 wins in a row, like just
oh,
think about what
yeah.
that'll do to his prices.
yeah. And the thing is, I remember you talking about this actually in the last episode. Is that Ferrari is just? I mean, they've pretty much got endless money, so they're
Yeah,
going to keep working on those cars until they get it right. And I know F1 these days. There's a lot of money in pretty much all the teams, except for maybe like Haas. But
yeah,
you know, they're all working. They're all trying to get better. But I think Ferrari. I mean, just even sponsorship money. Just people want to give them money. Like they want to be on the car. Like, hey, Ferrari. They want to be associated with them. So they're never going to have a shortage of money ever.
because yeah,
So, they're going to eventually get it right again, like they did with Schumacher back, late 90s, early 2000s. They were just insane. Like,
yeah.
that car was ridiculous. So,
I think the main thing for me, like you, this might be a better question to ask you, but like when I like if somebody were to like think about F1, the first thing I'm thinking of somebody would think of is the red Ferrari Formula One car. Like
oh,
even
yeah,
even with Mercedes
totally.
recent like recency like winning, like if you were to ask somebody to picture an F1 car, I feel like most people are going to picture like that 2004 Schumacher like red Ferrari car as like the Formula One car.
Yeah, 100%. And, it's funny because Mercedes has won, what, the last six? Because I know Nico won one as well. So I think they've
Yeah,
won the last 6 or 7.
I think it's
I
yeah,
can't
it's 6 or 7
remember.
last whatever.
They've won the last 6 or 7, and even the last couple of years, like Bottas, even their number two driver, has
Yeah,
done very well. Like they've dominated the sport, but still, I think Ferrari. Even if you go to a race, like when I went to every year in Austin, even when I went to Canada in 2018, like a lot of people are wearing Ferrari though.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of most people I would say are wearing Ferrari.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so. I think Charles, like I think in time, and he's only what 23 or something, 22.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he can't be over 25 at least for sure. I think he's like 24 to 22.
Yeah, so I think like with the changes and his youth, and Ferrari are backing him all the way too. That's another thing. They've signed him long term. So
I was just about to
even if
bring that up. This like they never signed drivers that long, and they signed what 5 years for him.
yeah, so even if it takes him 2 years to get it right from now, even
Yeah,
he's still going to be what 25. He's still going to have 3 years on his contract, and I mean he's only going to get better with experience as well. Like he's got I think 3 or 4 years under his belt now. So
yeah,
yeah, I think Leclerc is definitely probably the most undervalued out of all of the hobby right now.
yeah. So I'm gonna jump to the next guy. This one is kind of like one that like I always end up bouncing off of people because I like personally don't like feel a certain way, and
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Pierre Gasly, and
yeah,
he's always like people like he's like his cards don't reflect those guys, but he has that potential. But like I'm just worried like with how Red Bull is. I don't think he's gonna get the Red Bull seat ever again just because of how Red Bull works. And like
yeah,
you kind of have to bank on him going to Red Bull again if you want like to see him really do well. Because I think he's a great driver, but if he doesn't go to Red Bull, like I can't. It'll just be like one of those careers that Red Bull just kind of ends up wasting and not doing anything with.
yeah. I mean, I'm personally a big fan of Gasly, and
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't think he'll ever be a world champion, and some might disagree. But as someone who's watched this for like 30 years, everyone in F1 pretty much is a good driver. Like everyone on their day in the right car could win.
yeah,
But I think with Gasly, he might be like a Daniel Ricciardo type. And I hate to say this because Daniel Ricciardo's from my home city and
yeah,
he's my guy. But he might be one of those guys that, he might win, 5 to 10 races in his career and he might get a ton of podiums.
yeah,
But I just don't see him being like when you see Max and you see even Leclerc when Leclerc's on,
yeah,
these guys are on a different level. You can just see it every race. It's consistency. You know what I mean? Like Max is so
yeah,
consistent, and he's just fast. Whereas Gasly kind of reminds me like he's the kind of guy like he's more of like an opportunist, which is even with the race that he won.
yeah,
He it kind of all played into his favor, and then he held like he did well. Like he held signs and he did what he had to do. But I just think like Gasly might be like one of those guys that he'll be at a top team. He might even go to McLaren in a few years or even Mercedes.
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to be that guy that's going to win a championship. That's the only thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my so I just thought about this and I think this might be a pretty fair comparison for him. And I've seen this on YouTube. Like I feel like Gasly will have that Sergio Perez career, the Checo career, where
Yeah, that's a good
he'll win a few
comparison.
races. He's really consistent. Everybody knows him as being like a top guy, but like nobody's really like going after like Perez cards right now. Like everybody like knows he's a good driver, but like he's just not like he doesn't have any hype to him. Like everybody knows he'll finish. Like he'll do you well, get you good points, but
Yeah.
he's not
Well,
just
that's what
like
I mean.
he'll win a few
Well, that's
races,
what I
but
mean.
that's it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like he's definitely we've all seen it even in the last 2 years. Like when he got dumped from Red Bull,
Yeah,
he's shown he's worthy of his drive. Like way worthy. He's proven his worth. He's proven he belongs in F1. But at the same time, it's just F1 is as you all know, like it's a ruthless sport. It's cutthroat, and if you're not winning races, or you have like five, even like Daniel Ricciardo right now, like I say, he's had a pretty bad year. Like
yeah,
and he's had a great career, but people right now are just seeing like, what have you done this year, though? You know what I mean? So
yep,
as soon as you fall into a slump like that, you just don't know what the future holds. Like they can get rid of you like that. You know what I mean? So Gasly, I think he's still young, and I honestly think he'll be in the sport for another 10 years, maybe more. I don't know, but
yeah,
like a Perez guy, like he might be a good number two one day, to
yeah.
someone. But I just don't know. I just can't see it. Like talent wise, I think like if he was really that good, he would
Hmm.
be at Red Bull right now. If he was really really that good, he would be at Red Bull. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He
They
also
wouldn't be like they wouldn't demote him. They'd be like, all right, you're staying here with Max. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Who knows? He might prove us all wrong. Who knows?
I think also another like comparison like of a similar caliber is like Carlos Sainz to Gasly. Like those like drivers all kind of feel like similar. Like they're great number two guys. I don't know if they'll ever be like the dominant number one guy
Yeah,
for their teams, but like he really like reminds me of like a Sainz, like the opportunist. Like he'll get points
yeah,
and a bunch of podiums, but like
yeah,
yeah, that's just exactly how it feels. And like you don't see anybody like hyping up Carlos Sainz like as like the next incredible driver where it's like they feel like
yeah,
they're not identical, but they feel pretty similar in that aspect.
yeah. I agree. Well, the thing with Sainz is obviously he's at Ferrari. He's a good driver, and the thing is, he's been around for a while. He's with Red Bull program, whatever. But the thing is, he hasn't won a race yet. He's in year 7, I think. This
Yeah.
might be 7th year in F1, and I keep talking about Daniel Ricciardo, but even Daniel Ricciardo, like he's won 7 races, so he's
Yeah.
a proven race winner. And when he was with Max at Red Bull, he actually used to, Max
Take
has
it
been
to
killing it.
Max.
Yeah, he actually used to outqualify. Like he would push Max to the limit. He would beat Max a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even for Sainz to win 7 races right now, you think, can you see him winning even 7 races in his career? He hasn't even won
Yeah,
one yet.
no.
So you know what I mean? So guys like Sainz, Gasly, even for them to win 3, 4, 5 races for their career I think that'll be pretty big for them,
Yeah.
So that's the thing with this sport is that like there's only every decade there's like 3 or 4 drivers that dominate the decade for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them kind of just battle it out, you know what I mean? They get the odd podium, they get the odd win, they
Yeah.
get some points here and there, but there's only like 3 or 4 guys every decade that really can have the chance to win, and it all depends, like I said before, not only on your talent, but you need to have the car as well behind you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, so this next one is kind of a broader topic, but like I thought like I always like looking at Lewis Hamilton's base price as like
yep,
a kind of I don't know, has like kind of like just the market baseline for how the kind of like how the F1 market does cuz I figure like this is what I do if I want to look at the basketball market, I just go look at Luca's base Prism PSA 10
yep,
because there's so many of them.
yeah. That's
So
what,
like I figure
20,000
like if I look
or
at
something.
Lewis Hamilton's raw price, it kind of helps and like I feel like his raw price definitely spiked over the past like week or two, but I think like it's slowly starting to go back down to reality again,
Yeah,
which is expected. But I wanted to hear kind of what you were thinking, just like on the overall how you think it's going to handle over the next month or year or something like that.
yeah. You know what's funny is like obviously Lewis is the safest bet, even though he costs the most.
Yeah,
For anything, he's the safest. If you want to make money, or if you don't want to lose money, because I mean, stuff's never not going to be valuable. I mean, there's
yeah,
always going to be value, and chances are it's going to go up. With Lewis, I think you can't really go wrong. It's just having the money to buy. And
Lewis, yeah,
yeah, like I mean, for me, for a guy like me, like I think I've pulled about 40 of his base cards,
yeah.
and I've moved them all. I don't have one copy, and that's because I go for like higher end stuff, rarer stuff, whatever. But I think if I couldn't afford some of the stuff I have, um, and I'm not like the biggest base card guy either, but at the
Yeah, I'm
same
not
time,
either.
this Chrome is not like Prism. Like they probably printed 1/10 of what they have Prism because
Yeah.
there's no retail, there's no what's that? What's it called? Choice. There's none of
Oh
all this
yeah,
other.
like the weird like exclusives. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Lewis cards right now, if you really wanted to, I think if you could pick up a whole heap of them now, or even they might even go down a little bit more in the off season, like when the season ends.
Yeah.
But if he does get that eighth title, I mean, maybe now's the time to buy. And if you can only afford the base number one,
Hmm.
you stack up on those. You never know, man. Like, and with Tops only having license to soccer, and they might just keep pumping from now on F1 Pro. Who knows? And
Yeah.
this first year Chrome might be like first year Prism 2012 basketball. I mean, LeBron James base cards are selling. At one point, they were selling raw for like 300, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you get a PSA 10, I mean, I don't even know what they sell for now, but Lewis is a safe bet. And they might be a little higher just right now because we're in the current. Wait a second, sorry. We're in the current time of just of opening, and it's like the current product. But as the years go on, it might be seen as like one of those cards. It's like, wow, it's the first year Lewis Hamilton won 8 championships. Boom, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the market got flooded definitely because I remember when it first came out, I was selling them for. I think I sold a few of them for $300
Yeah.
raw. And then I saw they were down to like 100.
Hmm.
Is that what they're at now? Or
So it says I'm on Card Ladder, so it says current price or like basically last sold was 120,
yeah, okay,
but like over the past like few days, like maybe the past week, it's on a decline. It was at 150, but like
yeah,
and it's slowly gone down from there. But like
yeah, okay, yeah. I think if you could find one, this is what I like about card shows. I mean, we all love card shows because we don't have to pay shipping, tax, and all
tax,
that.
yeah,
But I mean, even at the last Dallas show, there was a few Lewis base number ones. You could pick them up for about $100, which I
yeah,
think will they gem? Who knows? But even if they don't gem, for a raw copy, $100. A box is what, $800-900 now.
yeah.
Whatever.
That's my next topic, the box prices. But yeah,
Yes. So you know what I mean. So I think Lewis, and at the same time, like I said, it's Lewis. Like you can't lose with Lewis. I mean, it'll always have some value. I can't see you getting like with all these other guys, like even Leclerc. I mean, as much as I talked him up, you just never know. Like
yeah,
he might his stuff might one day could. There's still a chance it could be worth nothing. You know what I mean? Whereas Hamilton, I mean, no brainer.
hmm,
Basically, it's just a matter of whether you have funds or not to put into it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it's so, especially the numbered stuff, it's pretty pricey. You know?
yeah. And it's like the thing is like as much as I love the Sports Illustrated for Kids cards, like I've been a big proponent of them,
Yeah,
especially for these F1 guys. Like I can't lie and say like this Lewis Hamilton base card won't like probably be like the iconic Lewis Hamilton card.
yeah,
So like it's just like what your personal preference is. Like I would rather go for the Sports Illustrated route and go for like the older like 2009 cards.
yeah.
But
I
like
agree.
but like you can easily pick up like probably 3 or 4 of these for the price of one of those
Yeah,
and just take your chances for going for the more like kind of like just getting 4 of them instead of just getting one of the Sports Illustrated.
yeah. And if you get one PSA 10, if you're I don't grade a lot, but if you
Yeah,
get a PSA 10 out of those four, that covers probably what you paid for all four and some. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's kind of like the other three were for free. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
but I'm like you though. I really do. I would love to get one of those Lewis Sports Illustrated. Is it Sports Illustrated?
Yeah,
I think
Sports
it is.
Illustrated for kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to get one of them one day. I've seen a couple on eBay, and I'm so focused on this year's product, and
Yeah.
Just buying other stuff. But I see them and I'm like, maybe I should just do it, and then I see something else. So eventually I want to get one of those.
So I don't know if you saw, but I don't even think I posted this on this channel. This has only been a Discord thing, but I bought like that sheet, and it turned out it was trimmed.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So like you just like it's just like it's one of those things that after I found out it was trimmed, it was like you know what, like I'll put it off for another day. I can probably I'll still be able to find this. Like it's not like the hardest thing to find on eBay, but like I really have to like I'm gonna have to really go for it. And it's like
yeah,
I'd rather buy a bunch of these other drivers now while they're like pretty cheap, like
yep,
instead of buying that because like that card like it'll like I know what that card will do in the future. Like I don't have any concerns with how that value will play out.
yep,
But like it doesn't have like it's just like kind of like how you play like the stock market. Do you go the safe route and just like kind of like dividends, or do you like going for like the calls and options and just kind of going for it? I think that's kind
yeah.
of it's
Well,
just like your mindset of how you do stuff. And I would rather go for like the risk, like the slightly riskier guys with higher upside, because that's just kind of how I do things.
yeah. Well, I think that Lewis, the Sports Illustrated, was it 2008 or nine? I can't remember.
2009.
I think it's one of those cards that I've seen a lot of people say because it's kind of got that rip. Is it like a rippled edge on it or something?
So yeah, so the way that card and like the way that works is so it's a there's nine like kind of like nine cards on a page.
Yeah.
And so Lewis Hamilton and I just posted a video on the Sebastian Vettel one because I thought that was really good. But both of them are on the bottom right, and like if you open up a
Okay.
magazine, the bottom right is like the
The
exposed
corner.
the corner.
Yeah.
So like
That
majority
sucks.
like in magazines like they never are like really good for like that stuff. Like they're so thin anyways. Like anything like that will kind of show and like so the majority of like the Hamiltons you look up online like I saw one like some Beckett like some like one of Beckett's subgrades and it was like rated a 5.5 and it was like 9 centering, 9 edges, 8.5 corners. But since it's technically on the corner, like it'll like have like a surface damage because like it has like that little like crease in it.
Yeah.
So you'll see all of them with like surface of like 4, but everything
Yep.
else is like 9 or 9.5s on them. So like they're if you get one in a high grade, I think they're going to be really valuable. But it's just hard to find them, and especially
Yeah.
because it's on that bottom corner, centering is really really hard to find. Like really well centered too.
I'm at the point where I would literally just take, even if it was a PSA 3 or something, I
Hmm.
just want a copy. You know what I mean? And
That's what I was, and
I'm
that's what I'm
not,
probably going to do at some point.
yeah, and I'm not one of those guys. If you look at my card page, which I've had for years, I've always looked for scarcity and rarity over, like, grades don't really do a lot for me unless it's like like a Luca base prism.
Hmm.
You want to have a PSA 10.
Yeah,
But something like that where it's even like this year's Topps Chrome. A lot of people put they're sending. I've put this in Discord. They're sending cards in for grading and blah blah blah.
yeah,
To me, I honestly am not even gonna waste my money because I feel like with a product like this that is notorious, as we all know, everyone who's ripped this stuff, we know how bad it is,
yeah.
and it's not shockingly bad. It's not so bad that you go, "Whoa, I don't want this card." Like it doesn't have a big scratch down the
Yeah,
middle
no,
of the
that's
front.
the thing I've noticed. Like you'll like I can look on the back and I can see like they have problems, but like it's not something that like makes me not want to buy a
Yeah.
card that has edge damage because like it's on the back too, which is the big thing. I'm like I have
Yep.
this is kind of unrelated, but I have one T206 card because I wanted to
Oh,
have
cool.
one really old card, and like the
Yeah, that's cool.
T206 I have is a PSA 2, but the reason I bought it is because it has the really good eye appeal on the back on the front because the
Yeah.
back has problems, and it's like I've always been somebody I focus on the front of a card so much more than the back, and I think
Oh,
that's what most
same.
people are. So like this with the
Yep.
back edge damage, like it doesn't bother me as much because most like some of them can be kind of big, but like they're not that big in the grand scheme of things. Where like I can kind of like just overlook them and enjoy them.
Yep.
So
No,
that's yeah,
honestly, as I was saying though, but if you look at my history, even with basketball cards and whatever, I had recently a Stephen Curry Topps Chrome rookie refractor, right, which I bought
yeah,
raw, and this card was not in good shape on the back.
uh huh.
It had white corners and all 4 of the corners in the back.
And
It was only
so yeah, I've had that. I actually just moved a base copy in a PSA 8, And I actually
Yep.
have another copy that's an in-person auto from him, and like those back edges, the black, like they're
Yeah,
no
that's the
joke.
problem. Yeah, that's the thing with it. But honestly, like the thing the thing that people don't understand is a lot of people think about grading. Yep, and if you get a PSA 10, obviously
Yeah,
it adds value, especially with this year's F1 product, Topps Chrome, because we all know how bad it can be. But at the end of the day, like performance drives the market and
yeah,
rarity. So like if you invest, say like George Russell right now, everyone's paying pretty high.
yeah,
Everyone's thinking he's at Mercedes, he's gonna be like maybe he could win titles, which maybe he could. I mean, going to Mercedes is not a bad thing. And I'm a big fan of Russell, and I've got a bit now. He's a little higher, but at the same time,
yeah,
I know some people are worried about. Oh, I don't want to sell Raw because Raw, blah blah. You know what? At the end of the day, if you have a George Russell number to 10 and he wins a title, you're gonna make more Raw even than maybe five. If he wins a title, if you have a Raw copy now, that'll be worth 5 times the amount if he wins a world championship. It doesn't matter if it's Raw. People want what they want, and if it's a winner, they want a bit. They want the winner. They don't really care what grades are. It's
yeah,
it's it's performance and scarcity that ultimately drives the market. Because you could have 15,000 PSA 10 Luka Doncic rookie cards, but try and move 15,000 copies. People will go, "What? You got 15,000 copies of that card?" Like
yeah,
it doesn't, to me, that doesn't excite me. I don't care if it's a 10. I mean, it could be a 10 all day. Great, that's awesome. But I personally don't want to buy cards like that. So for me, I think we're saying even with this Hamilton rookie, this Sports Illustrated,
hmm
I would have a raw copy any day, because I think ultimately when if he wins his 8th championship, you could even move that raw copy one day for 5 times what it's worth now, maybe 10.
yeah,
Who knows? So it's not. People got to stop looking at cards like it's got to be a PSA 10. Cards are cardboard. They come out of packs. It should be expected that it might get damaged. They're just cardboard. They're not like stones. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think people put a lot of emphasis on that. Whereas for me, I'd rather just pick up more cards. I'd rather put my money into like a Lewis Sports Illustrated than send off cards and hope that it gets a 10. And if it doesn't, I'm like, oh well, what's it going to do for me now? You know. So I just think differently to a lot of the textbook market people. You know, I'm more of a collector,
yeah.
and I would love to have that card. So
That's like
I
my
think
whole thing with that is like I'm the same way. Like I'm more of like the collector guy, but like it's hard. Like there are some cards like these F1 cards like that I feel like I'm not like the I have the orange Leclerc out of 25 like that I'm actually gonna get I should get back from grading in a day or two hopefully from PSA
yep,
because they said it shipped and it's one of those
yep,
cards that like I like it's a card that like I feel like eventually should get graded no matter what like because it's so low numbered
yeah,
like even just to get it in the protection anyways is great for me
yep.
and it's
Which
like
man, honestly, like not to sound like a hater of grading. I've spent money on grading.
oh yeah
I buy graded cards. Like I bought a PSA 6 Gasly Dynasty recently
yeah
because I just thought, oh cool, it's graded already. Price was right, and I do like them in slabs. I prefer cards in slabs, but at the same time, if my card's damaged, I'm not going to send in and hope for like a 9 or a 10 or whatever for $300. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? That's all. And it's just,
yeah
and another thing that I think of is grading costs right now. Is you came back what 3-4 years ago in the hobby. It wasn't like this even 3 years ago.
yeah
You
that's
could
why
send
like
a card
what
in
hell even
for
like
$20.
2 years ago like I'm trying like 2 years ago I sent my first cards in for grading.
Yep.
I sent in a Mike Trout rookie card. I sent in two tops LeBron James rookies and a
Yep.
Kobe and like a Kobe
Yeah.
finest. And even then, like the service, like I think I sent them like express and like back then I think that was like 2 weeks maybe. The
Yeah.
express was. But like
Yep.
and that was like they just bumped it to like 50 I can't remember if they bumped it to I think they bumped it to $50.
Yeah.
They just moved it to $50 and I could pay $50 to get the cards back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, which is to me that was cool back then. I
Yeah.
mean, and when I say cool, not fashionably cool, but with your wallet.
But like, it's
I mean,
like I felt like that was a fair price, like for two
yeah.
weeks, $50. Like, yeah,
Well, the thing I find odd is talking about grading is you know the the what they're doing isn't any different. You know what I mean? They're doing the same thing they did 2 years ago.
No,
They're
yeah.
getting the card. They're getting the card in the mail. They look over it for 30 seconds. They're not doing anything extra, but we're paying like $300 for the same service. And like when I think about it, I'm like, do I really need somebody to tell me that this card is a 9 or a 10 for $300? Like, to me, it just, I don't know. I know there's some guys that are going to listen to this and they love grading, and that's fair enough. We all do our own things, but for me, I look at it a little differently because I used to grade when it was $20, which is fine because, you know, if it's a 9, whatever, okay, you pay $20, but when you're paying $200 or $300, if you get a low grade, I mean, you know, that's just money down the toilet, and that $300 could buy you another decent card, which you could have, which if the driver does well, like I said, performance, if it's Russell, you spend $300 on a Russell and he wins a title, that $300 could go up to $1,500 rather than $300 and you get like a PSA 8 back. It gets you nothing.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I think about things. That's just me, you know. So
no, yeah. So,
but yeah, each their own. Each their own.
Yeah, and so I want to talk. I know you're a big in the Discord. It was funny today. They were disagreeing with you on your argument with the box prices.
Yeah.
And how, so like to sum it up for people who like weren't there, like basically in the Discord. I'll put a link. I always try to put a link, but if I forget, put a comment, and I'll send you the link. But like how you were saying how you bought the cases for really cheap. And how they were trying to argue, like to say, like the 600, like if they could get a box for $600, it's a steal for them. Whereas you're like, you couldn't believe it. And I wanted to kind of hear you explain that a little more for your thought process behind it, because I thought it was an interesting argument to make.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? Like I said, I've been in this hobby for a long time, nearly 10 years back in it. And not only that, but just I'm a little bit older, and I don't even think age really matters when it comes to knowledge, because you can be 20 and you can be super smart, whatever. But the thing for me is that I have seen this hobby go from down here to up there, and not only in the last 5 years, in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And also, for me, it's like I said in the Discord, if you pay $1,500 for a case of something, right?
Yeah.
And then you see a box online that's like $800. Like, I don't care who you are, you cannot pay $1,500 for a case and then go, oh yeah, I'll just buy a box for $800.
Yeah.
It's like human nature. It's like buying, if you bought a Ferrari, right? Say you bought a Ferrari, you got the first one for $1,500, and then someone comes up to you, and says, do you want to buy this hobby case / Ferrari for $10,000, but it's the same as the last one? I mean, it's almost impossible for me to get my head around it. And I understand if you're going to buy this stuff and hold it. Like, I know that sealed wax has value long term, especially with iconic products. But if you're going to open a box at $800 or whatever, I mean, you got to thank your lucky stars, because I've opened a lot of this stuff. I mean, a lot, probably more than most people, and I would say like 70% of the boxes you're lucky to get $200 worth of cards in it.
Yeah.
So and then maybe another 10-15% is probably equal to what the value is of what you paid, and this is at 500.
Because the one box I opened, it was at 500, and like I felt at that point like it's like I could like. Because like, even if I got the 200 back, like that's still a decent return for like a box in general for the 500s. Like I was okay with paying. I think I paid the 475, and I was like, that's like somewhat reasonable for me. Yeah. But like now, like an $800 box, like I can't even like. If you think about it, like if you pull a Lewis Hamilton refractor, is that even going for $800? And people would say that's like a huge hit.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to break anyone's heart or hurt anyone or whatever, or sound like a D-bag, but this is coming from experience, because I've been there before as well. I've been there where I've overpaid and I've seen the market grow. And I mean, I remember even ripping, like I said, Prism hobby boxes back in 2016 with Devin Booker. and Towns. Those things were $50 a box for a hobby box of Prism, and I went through stacks of that, like as much as I have F1,
Yeah.
and that wasn't a problem back then. When you're spending $50 for a box of hobby,
Yeah.
you're getting an auto, you're getting colored, you get one silver of Booker, and I mean you've made your money and some, and then everything else. But right now at these prices, I sort of say it more as like a warning to people. Like I want to help them. I don't want them to go there and like you're better off just buying singles now, because a lot of the singles market, as people have talked about on Discord, is the cards aren't that expensive for a lot of singles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to what even like Dynasty right now, especially, you can buy maybe 80 to 90% of those cards are worth way less than a box. You know what I mean? Way, way, way less. So you're better off just risking it. And I mean, if you want to risk it and go for a Hamilton, you're probably better off buying a case of Dynasty. And at least then you're going to get probably one or two really good cards. But if you're just buying one single box at 2,500 or whatever people want from now, I mean, it can be really big kick in the balls, So I'm not trying to start fights or whatever, but for me, I'm just saying from my view, when you could pre-order for a month on David Adams last year for $15.25 a case, and then someone says, "Oh, you should buy this box for $800 for one box." To me, I look at it, I'm like, no way, I can't do that. You know what I mean? I just can't. It's impossible for me to get my head around that. You know what I mean? But if you're new to the hobby and you've never bought a box, I mean, that's the market rate. That's what you got to pay. I mean, you're probably going to pay it. You know what I mean? So I was just talking from my own personal experience. But at the same time, even from my personal experience, I think right now you're better off buying singles. If the prices keep going up even more, just buy singles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember when I first saw the F1 cards were coming out the boxes, I kept because it kept getting pushed back and farther back. So I kept telling myself like, oh, I'll like because this is when they were sitting for about $200 for a box at this point. And I was like, like I'll buy like I bought baseball like jumbos for like 100. Like I think in 2018 when I bought jumbos of 2018 tops, it was like $100 for a jumbo box. So I saw $200 and I was like, okay, like I'd seen how some prices had slowly crept up. So I was like, okay, like, I'll pay that for like a box. That's fine. But then I when I finally got around to buying them, I was like, okay, like I remember there was just one day up at school, I was just kind of sitting there, like I was like, okay, I'll go buy the boxes now, like because I thought about it, and they were sold out. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a bummer. I was like, that's a bummer, but I was like, okay, like they probably can't go up that much higher than like $200, like because it's like a new product. Because I had seen them come out with like Major League like MLS soccer, and those weren't doing too well. So I was like, okay. Then the next time they went on because like they kind of do it in the waves. Then the next time they went on sale, I think it was like I think they went from 200 to 300 a box. And I was like, ooh, 300 a box. Like I was okay at 200, but like I don't know about $300 a box. So like I passed that in, which is funny to look at now how it's like 3 times that. But like how like even like at $300 a box, I was like, wow, like it's kind of expensive for a box. Like knowing what's in them now, like I would say like a fair rate to pay is probably about $400 to $500. Like is like for like the ratio of what you could get out of it to what you're probably gonna get out. Like I feel like that's probably like a pretty fair price, especially for what the singles are going for. So buying singles seemed just like the no-brainer idea for me to do.
Well, the thing is for me as well, it's obviously it comes down to how much money you have. There's some people who just have a lot of money, and that's fair enough. If I just when I talk a lot from my own personal experience, and I'm not poor, but I'm not rich. I'm not like Steve Aoki or one of those guys who can just rip through like Dynasty, like, oh yeah, cool, let's try and get a Hamilton. But I do, like I said, have the card experience, and a lot of the guys I know from basketball collectors that are big collectors, and they told me this stuff a few years ago. It's like buy singles. If you want to really build a collection, and if you're an investor, if you want to make money, buy singles. And I see these guys, and they're killing it. Like the last year and a half, like these guys have made so much money just from doing that model of, all right, boxes are now 5 times what they were. No way am I opening it. I'm just going to buy singles. And, these guys have made Like, I don't question anything they do. I just see what they're doing. I'm like, wow, these guys are killing it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's to me like you can open any hobby product when it's the right price, but pretty much every hobby box gets that time where you're like, all right, okay, this is it. We got to stop now. And it's been hard for me, man, because I love ripping. I love ripping product, and especially this F1. I've gone through a lot, and
Yeah.
I would love to get another case, man, and just sit there one night, few drinks, open the case, hopefully pull something good. But at this price, I can't. After seeing what I've pulled and thinking about it, like, is it going to be worth it? I just can't see. Personally, I can't see the value in it unless I hit like a superfractor of Lewis Hamilton or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Max or something, you know what I mean? So it's hard. It's fun. It's fun to rip, but at this price, yeah, it's definitely a tough one to get my head around.
So then that'll jump into this. Like I pulled up just a sapphire chrome like box, and they're
Yep.
selling for like $1,150 for a single box, and like
Wow.
that like just what you can get out of it is not like I've seen a lot of I've seen quite a few boxes of sapphire, and when they're
Yep.
at $600, like you can make your money back, but like I don't like unless you pull like a Hamilton numbered card or like a Verstappen numbered card. Like I don't really see you ever
Yeah.
getting to $1,200 worth of value.
Yep. And again, like I said, if you keep it sealed, right? I
Yeah.
get it. If you keep these boxes sealed, those boxes might be 5K one day. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, but ripping at that price, I mean, you got to be prepared to take the loss. And I've only opened one sapphire box.
Yeah.
One. And I got lucky. And when I say lucky, it wasn't even a massive hit, but I had in my box, which I paid $650 for, I think it was.
Yeah.
I got the Leclerc 70th variation.
Oh yeah.
Black, which was and it's numbered 70 of 70 as well.
And you know how I feel about those black 70s, like, and
yes.
and I would say like most people would see that card and say, wow, like that's a pretty solid hit.
Yeah.
But
so
like
it's the 70th and it's numbered 70 of 70, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I added up the overall box costs, I'm like, I don't think I even got my $650 back.
No.
With the rest of it, I got a Mazepin. I always pull Mazepin for some reason. I got a gold of him to 50, his base card, and I got a Bottas variation, just the blue variation. And I was like, I still didn't make money off this. You know what I mean? So I thought, okay, I'll open one box, and I bought a few singles of Sapphire because I think it's all part of it. I love F1, whatever. But at $1,100, yeah, if you pull like a Lewis, great, awesome. At the same time, for me, I would just buy singles at that price. Like for $1,100, you could buy a nice Max or a nice Vettel, like maybe a real low numbered Vettel or someone.
Yeah.
So
I love Vettel. I love Vettel and Leclerc right now as my two guys, and like you can find them like I think you've seen like Buff post like all the Vettels he's going for like.
Yeah,
and like he probably like I don't know the prices he's paid, but like I would imagine he got him for pretty good prices considering Vettel's pretty undervalued. Like,
yeah,
like I can't imagine him being that much.
I think Vettel is and it was before like we're talking about Leclerc. I think both Leclerc and Vettel, the two of the Ferrari guys, are easily the most undervalued in the whole thing. And I know Vettel's come up a little bit, but still, I still think he's low. You know what I mean? Because. Yeah. 4-time world champion, 4 times. That it's just wild to me. I know he's not the flavor of the month right now, but 20 years from now, will Max have 4 titles? Will Lando have 4 titles? Will George Russell? You know what I mean? So it's kind of to me, and I often think this that like in Dynasty you can get the dual auto, Vettel and Leclerc. If Leclerc wins a title or two, that card, the dual with Vettel, could be
a huge
massive,
card. Yeah,
massive. Like massive card one day. So it's Ferrari. We talked about it. There's money there. There's money. It's Ferrari. Like those two guys, along with I think Kimi as well. I think Kimi is undervalued big time. Just for what he's done in his career, even when he didn't win titles, he was always up there. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah.
he's so cheap. Like he's purple to $3.99. I saw one the other day. The purple to $3.99 was like $20 or $15. Something. I'm like,
I just sold a Kimmy the 399 to someone I mean, mine had like a pretty nice back with minimal damage, but I sold it for $25. Like,
yeah.
he's really cheap.
I mean, what's a pack? Like a pack now would cost you what 40 or $50.
Yeah, I think it's like $50 for a pack.
Man, I'm putting my $20, $25 into Kimmy all day over that pack.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's wild, but I guess it's still a new hobby, and there's a lot of people in that are new to the sport. But I think in time, we're all going to get smarter and we're going to get educated. As time goes on, we're going to look back at the history of F1, and I think people are going to see, like Vettel especially, 4 championships. They're going to see how hard it is for even this year. Look at Max, like
to win one championship.
Yeah, he had the good start, right? And everyone 3-4 weeks ago, everyone's like, "Oh, Max is going to win." All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh shit, maybe he's not going to win."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's not that easy to win the Formula One World Championship. So I think over time, people will go, "Oh yeah, Vettel." Like, even the new people, I appreciate him. I've seen him race live. I've been to races and all, but
yeah,
there's new crew who are still getting into it, and obviously they like the younger crew and they identify with the younger guys, which is fair enough because who knows, one of those guys could be the next 4-time world champion, but they're not yet. Whereas Vettel is, like, it's 4-time winner. That's it. There's no more argument, nothing to debate. He's a winner. He won 4 times, so definitely undervalued.
I mean, I just made a video. I don't know if you saw it. I literally just made a video yesterday, and the one card I said you have to buy right now as like the biggest undervalued card was Vettel has a Sports Illustrated for Kids card from 2011, and like that's like you could say that's his true rookie. And so
that'd be cool.
So on eBay there are these guys selling them in bulk, like dude, they were selling the sheets, the whole entire sheets, and I bought 10 sheets, so technically I bought 20 sheets, and I paid for 20 sheets. I paid $90.
That's insane.
So like I was getting them for like basically $4 a sheet. I was getting his rookie card, and the thing it was uncut, and on the same sheet it had a LeBron James from when he was on the Heat.
Yep.
And plus, like, I know WNBA is not huge, but it had a Brittany Griner Sports Illustrated for Kids rookie, and like that's one of the few like names a lot of people will know from WNBA for like the last 10 years.
That's mad.
So I was like, if I can buy like the uncut sheets for $4, like even in a year or two, I wouldn't be surprised if I could sell these for $50. Like, because they're hard to find. Like, how many people like you can't even find those?
Well, that's the thing as well. I'm not a. I've been watching the same with Australia, like soccer, Premier League, and that has been big. It's been big for years. But I know in America it's getting really big. Which I'm an Austin FC season ticket holder, so I go to the MLS here and that, but
gotcha.
I know it's taken time to grow, but in Australia, like the Premier League, because there's a lot of we're still part of the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth, so we used to watch a lot of Premier League, and I've been a mass Premier League guy, but I don't collect the cards. But I think are you into soccer cards? Is it, or there's a couple other guys? If soccer if F1 takes the same trajectory
as soccer
as soccer in the hobby, those Vettel cards those Vettel sheets, I mean, would definitely be worth. They could go up more than you're saying $50 a sheet.
Yeah, that was like what I think it could see. Yeah,
they could be more than that. I'm telling you right now, the way that soccer's boomed, if F1 can get a little boom, and who knows, it might not ever get as big as soccer because soccer is the world game. It's the number one sport.
Yeah, but you still have the worldwide, like as F1's still it's still a worldwide sport too. So you'll see.
Oh yeah. I mean, there could be huge growth. I just don't know if it'll ever be as big as soccer.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Same time for what, $4 a sheet?
Yeah.
Could be the best investment you ever had.
So I don't know if I'll go that far because I don't know if you know I bought some of the 2020 Topps Now F1 cards, and those have been really good for me. Like
cool.
I bought 80 of the Verstappen Topps Nows.
Wow.
From 2020.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
So it's funny,
cool.
like every once in a while in the Discord, people are like I'll try to sell one, and they're like, "Why are you trying to sell it if you like the card so much?" And I'm like, "Dude, I have like 80 of them. Like I can afford to move like a few of them at a time. Like I'm waiting to send quite a few of them to PSA because that's like something I would like want to bulk to PSA.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, so it's like, and it's funny. They'll like they'll give me a card like, oh, why are you trying to sell if you love it so much? And it's like, dude, like I have so many of them. Like I can
That's
afford to
good.
get. I'll afford like I'll take like the money when I can get it here and there just to buy some other stuff. But like,
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. How much were they selling for originally? These
they were selling. So you could buy a 20 pack for $4 a card. So you could get
Wow.
20 for $80, and I bought four. I bought four of them. I sold a Peyton Manning PSA 9.
Yep.
Like Bowman. I don't know. No, it was his Topps Chrome rookie. A
Yep.
PSA 9, and that was basically the cost of all those Verstappens. And like that $4 card, like now it's anywhere from 80 to $100 for a single one. So like,
Yeah. That's pretty good, man.
so
You
it,
know what's funny? I've never got into the tops now. I don't know why. I like packed and box. Like I like cards coming out of packs and stuff.
it was easier for
So
me at the time because they hadn't come out with the packs yet. So
yeah,
like my thinking was like, this is his like. A lot of people like I don't think this is the general like consensus by a lot of people. But when I was buying them, I was like this was Max Verstappen's first like tops card.
yeah.
Sure, he has the
Which is
tops Chrome coming out, but like this is his technically his first tops card.
yeah.
So
Which I
that's why I
think
was
will
buying.
always stuff like that will with tops now. Even though I'm not a big fan of it, I think the first ever card of each guy is going to have that whole like the first card thing. You know.
Yeah, that was my
And
thought process.
I've got Danny Rick's first card, not the shoey. It's the one before that where he's
On
got on
the one on the
podium.
podium, yeah.
Yeah, I bought one of them. It's the only Tops Now card I've ever owned. But being from Perth and Australia, I was like, oh, I'm going to buy one of those cards. But it's funny. Like I know a lot of Discord guys have been big on Tops Now, but for me, I don't know why. I just never really, even though it was F1 and I'm a massive F1 guy, but when it comes to card collecting,
Yeah.
I've always been into like packs and the golds and whatever. Like
Yeah,
just
it's
for some
completely
reason,
fair.
yeah, for some reason it didn't excite me personally. But
Yeah.
for you guys, hey, it's cool, and you've made some good money out of it, which is great for you as well. You were smart enough to put the money in, and
Yeah.
now you're seeing the rewards as well. So that's cool.
Yeah, and it's funny how much those have gone up because like I think I've said this before, but like I missed out when it first started. So I jumped in when it was right around like card number 10 or so. And
Yeah,
I was like, wow, I need to go back and buy like the earlier cards. And like Lewis Hamilton, like his first one was $20 at the time. And I was just sitting there. I was like, "Do I really pay $20 for this card?" And like now we
yeah,
know like that's an absolute bargain for it. But I was like, "Do I do it like for $20?" And I was like, "What the heck? I'll do it for $20. Like, I'll
yeah,
take the chance." But like
yeah.
now, like that,
What do
like
they what do they go for now? Like a raw copy or like
yeah,
a PSA
it's a raw. They're all I have them all raw because like my thing is like if I were to get one of them graded, I would want them all graded because that's kind of how I am. So like, but like
We all have an OCD with our cards. So
yeah, so like
that's your OCD.
yeah, so like I can't have like in like if I make a set like for the out of 70 sets, if I were to
Yep.
buy one that's graded, I would crack it and put it in a one touch.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
because like that's just kind of like how I am. Like I want them like all to kind of look the same so it presents well. Because if I
Yep.
just have like random slabs of them, like it just, like doesn't like present as well as I want it to.
Yeah, I hear you, man. That's why I've kept all of my chrome. Everything I have is raw. Even stuff if I bought it graded, I've cracked it.
Yeah,
It's all in top loaders and sleeves. That's it. So,
yeah,
and I kind of like it like that because, like you say, if I have one graded card or two of them in my stash, and them sticking out, I'm like, oh, I can't deal with this. Like,
yeah,
it's my OCD as well. Like, I'm like, they've either got to all be raw or they've got to be slabs, and I don't have the money. I've got about like 150 cards in my collection, and it's for me to get them slabbed by PSA is going to cost me a fortune. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So
How many? Just quickly, how many do you need of that? The 70th now. How many?
okay,
do you
so
need for that?
I'll pull it up on my phone. The ones I need. I just got the Leclerc, and I think that was 13 of 20.
Yep.
So the ones I need, like I need the Hamilton, like,
Yep.
but like I'm kind of holding off on him because I think he'll come down just a tad right now. So I'm holding off on that. I need the Bottas. The last one I saw sold for $40, and I thought that was too high. So I'm still, and that was like a month ago. So and I haven't seen one since. So I'm still waiting for him.
Poor Bottas, man.
Yeah,
You got Hamilton selling for what, 2K, and then you got Bottas for $40, and it's too high.
and I thought, and it was funny because the last one that sold, it was funny. Somebody in the Discord sold the one for $40, and
Wow.
because the one before that went for 20, and I was like, I'm not gonna I was like $40, like that's double the price of the last one. Like, it'll come up
Yeah.
again. It hasn't come up
Well,
again, but I'm sure I can find it
did,
at some point.
did one sell for $20 for that for Bottas?
Yeah, there was the
Around
one. It
20.
was the one before the $40 one. It was like 23.
Damn.
So like my bid,
That's
I think my max bid I put in was $40, and it ended up selling for like $40.50 or something like that. So like,
that
yeah.
sucks.
After,
Yeah, don't you hate that when you lose an auction by like 50 cents? You're just like,
oh yeah. Then
that
so
sucks.
I need the Verstappen as well.
Yep.
I
Okay.
so I need Norris, but so my last guest Chad, he has a Norris that he'll sell for me to me.
Yep.
So I at least know where that
Okay.
one is. So like I'm not too worried about that one. I can get it when I need it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I
you
have
need what, about 5 or something?
so yeah, then the
5.
last three I need are all lower end guys. Like I need Sergio Perez, Giovinazzi, and Grosjean. Grosjean I can buy for $20 at like on ComC. But like
Yeah.
ComC shipping kind of annoys me, so I'm just kind of waiting to see if one pops up on eBay.
Yeah.
So then Giovinazzi and Perez, there's some on eBay. One of them I tried to buy the Perez, like he had it listed for like $180, like a ridiculous price. And
Yeah.
I was like, hey, the last one sold for like $40. Like, could we get kind of closer to that range? And
I saw that.
then the
I saw
guy,
your
yeah,
post.
then the guy had the nerve to tell me you should have bought that card then for $40. So I was pissed at that guy.
Nuts. I feel like some of these guys rip these. This is what happens though when you rip product way overpriced, right? Sealed product,
Yeah,
and then you get, dog shit. Which the Giovinazzi was probably the best card in the box.
yeah,
So he's just like being stubborn and trying to recoup whatever he can. When in
Yeah.
reality, like the card's not worth, what they want for it. But that's just what happens with some people. They get like really disgruntled and they're like, "Oh, I need to sell this card for this so I can get my money back." When just cut your losses. You know what I mean?
So yeah, the Perez guy. So the Perez guy told me that I should have bought the other one. The Giovinazzi guy. So like the last one I saw sold for like $20.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I messaged him. He had it listed for 70, so it's high. But like at least I figured like there was no offer, but I could work something out with him to get somewhere with it.
Yep.
And I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, last one sold for $20. Like let's try to. I'll come up from there. But let's try to figure it out."
Yeah,
And then he
cool.
messaged me like he said something like, "Oh, like that $20 sale was an absolute steal. I can't sell it for that low."
Yeah.
And I was like, then I messaged him back. I was like, okay, like I was like, sure, it was low, but like I'll give you a price that's above that. But then he
Yeah.
never got back to me. Like he was tired trying to work with me, so he just stopped responding. And it was like the thing was like I would have given him like 35. Like I would have given him like almost 100% more than that $20 sale.
Yeah.
Which is like and like $40 for Giovinazzi, like that's a pretty like high, like all things considered, pretty high to pay $40 for it. But like
Yeah.
I'm at the point where like they're hard to find now, so like I'll pay it, like, but you have to at least
Yeah.
give me something to work with here. You can't just and like
Yeah.
the Raikkonen like was like that before. Like thankfully somebody in the Discord ended up posting it, so I bought it from them for a reasonable price.
Okay.
But before that, like the cheapest Raikkonen was like $120, and it was like the last one sold for like I think I ended up getting it for $35, and the last one sold for like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
And
I've
I was
actually got.
I was happy
I've
with
got
that.
I've got the Kimi 70th. The base, not the variation. I've got the. It's one of the rare sapphire cards that I have in my collection. Is the Kimi. I saw it at the Dallas show, and a guy
Yeah.
had it, and I was like, I need that card.
And I'm pretty sure that's the exact one that I bought. Like it's just like the 1 out of 70 of him standing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one I have of him. Which I love Kimi, so I've got a lot of Kimi stuff. So, but yeah, I saw that 70th. I like that parallel. The black, is it black or is it just clear? What is it?
So I have no clue what it's called. I'll actually check right now. I call it the black because it looks like a black finish on the back.
Yeah.
But I don't technically think it's black. Like I don't know I think it's just called 70th because it's only 70th from that. But like it feels weird for me to call it the 70th if there's no like because like there's 70th of the orange in the base. So like I call it the black because it looks black and it's kind of easier for me to say like the black refractor.
Yeah.
Because like if they have an orange refractor and like a purple refractor, like if it looks black, I'll call it the black. A few people call it the silver refractor, but like I feel like the black just makes the most sense. Like,
Yeah.
but I'll check
Yeah,
it up
me
right
too.
now.
Me too. Yeah, so is that like your main focus then, is to just get this set of 20 of the 70th, yeah?
So my whole eventual goal is I want to get the complete set. Like, but
Yeah.
that's way down the line. Like, I figured like if I were to end up getting all 20 of the drivers, like I would be happy with that because like those are the main cards you're looking for anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so they're
think if you got them first, like the top 20, and then the rest of it will just come eventually. I mean, but the top 20 is like, you want to get onto that now. You know what I mean?
yeah. So
Secure that, and then you can go for the other stuff.
yeah, so I found it on the websites. They're just called 70th anniversary, but it's weird because like the other ones are called aqua, gold, orange, purple, red. But I actually learned how to say it. Pod Parasha is like the pink
Yeah.
one, but then this one's just called 70th. It doesn't sit right for me, so I just call it black.
Yeah.
So that's just yeah, it's the black to
Yeah,
me.
that's like me with the super fractor chase.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, I know I can't get them all.
yeah,
There's been a lot that I've let go. I mean, some people message me, go, "Oh, leave some for us," and I'm like, "Look on eBay. I've let a lot of them go, but if the price is right, I've just been picking up whatever I can." So
that's like I've seen like
yeah,
I remember I messaged you. I saw one at a show. Like the guy was massively overpricing, but like whenever I
yeah,
see one, like I just think of messaging you. Like sure, like I'm not gonna like I don't message you over like the logos. Like
I get messages every day. I think people know that I'm the super fractor guy, and even yesterday, a guy messaged me from Europe
uh-huh.
with a Lewis Hamilton World on Wheels Superfractor 1-of-1,
Oh yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, you interested in this card?" And I said, "Well, I'm interested in the card. I'd love to have it, but I said, what do you want for it?" And yeah, it's one of those deals where it's big money, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get it or not. But if I see on eBay or if I see one on Discord that's priced right,
And
I'll
like
get it.
so like and like you're only going for the base chrome. You're not going for like the sapphire 101s.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
I kind of am just. I'm in that mindset of like, if the price is right, like you, like I'm not gonna just buy it because it's on eBay. There's plenty of them on eBay, but if the price is right, I'll take it. But some of these guys want like 7,000. There's one on eBay for a Bottas Superfractor for $7,000,
yeah.
and I'm just like, come on, man! I've been buying Bottas for 200, 250 for Superfractors.
Like I'm pretty sure didn't you buy one like within the last month, like maybe last couple weeks? Like there's a Bottas, like
Yeah,
one of
I
his
bought
race
that one.
wins for
Yeah,
like I don't know how much you paid, but it was like for like on eBay it was even a reasonable price for eBay, like what 500 on eBay it was listed for I think.
yeah. I mean, all the ones that I picked up, I feel like I've got for reasonable price. Some of them, I'll pay a little extra just because if it's like Daniel Ricciardo, I wanted to have some of his, so I paid a little more. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's even yesterday there was a Magnussen 1-of-1 true base card, which was
Yeah.
$600, which doesn't seem like much now when you think about like what a box costs. But I got Grosjean for 415
Yeah.
for the true base 1-of-1. So again, when it comes to me, like it's my whole thing, but I couldn't pay that 600 for Magnussen because I'm thinking plus tax plus fee,
Yeah.
shipping, it was about $700 because they wanted $50 because it was from Asia,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I got Grosjean for 400 something. Magnussen's going to cost me like 700.
And I would argue, yeah, the Grosjean like would be much better long term because at least he has some relevancy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and even here in America, he's doing like the whole IndyCar stuff.
Exactly.
And I mean, like I say, I'm into these supers, and I'm up to like 26 now. I think I've got 26 of them.
Okay.
Which is, some people are like, well, that's a lot, but I've let, there's been 50 of them that I don't have, and it's usually because either they're well overpriced or, I'm mainly trying to focus on the F1 guys too. Even if it's Bottas,
Yeah.
like I'd rather buy a Bottas than like any of the There's a lot of F2 cards and the logos, like the
Like the
T-shirts
F2
and all that.
logo supers, yeah.
So that's been my thing with this whole product. I've been trying to focus on that, and it mainly just started because the first ever box I opened out of my first case, I pre-ordered in August last year, and I was waiting. They kept delaying it, and then it finally got to my house. I think it was April it came out, and so I'm sitting there at my house like, wow, F1. chrome tops. This is cool. First
Yeah.
box I open, the Charles Leclerc Ferrari World on Wheels Superfractor, one of
Yeah.
one in the first box. So that just got me like hooked on the supers. I was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can get a few more of these. And then I got about 5, and then I got another 5, and then I got another 5, and now I'm kind of like, okay, let's see like how many I can get of these. You know what I mean?
Do you have like one that you sticks out as like your best super, or like are there just a few that kind of just fight for that spot?
Oh man, you know what? The one that I really like, which is kind of odd, is I got the Mick Schumacher, and this is one of the 70th. It's not even the true 101. The Mick Schumacher car, one Superfractor
I
70th.
just sold a gold out of 50 of that card. I really like that card.
Yeah, like when I got that card and when I saw it available, I was like, I gotta have that card. For some reason, I just thought Mick Schumacher, like just even though it's not the drive. I mean, I'd love to have the driver card.
Yeah.
I would love to have that. But that one, and also I think the Sergio Perez 1 of 1, the true 1 of 1 Sergio Perez.
Okay.
When I saw that on eBay, I was like, I gotta have that one
Yeah.
because the 1 of 1s ultimately, obviously, of the 1 to 20, the true 1 of 1s, I think are going to be really just iconic long term. As a collector, and I've got 3 of them now. I've got Albon, Perez, and Grosjean.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 of the 20. I could have had Magnussen. I probably should have got it, but oh well. And I've got of the 70th of the top 20. I think I've got Raikkonen, Kvyat, Giovinazzi, and Latifi. So I've got 4 of those of the base 70th 1 of 1. So I do prefer the top 20 the most, but the Mick car 70th is probably my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I was interested to hear, like, it's always interesting to hear what people's favorite cards are, because, like, a lot of the times their most technical valuable is not their, like, favorite one at all, which is, I find that
that's
funny.
how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a Hamilton auto, I've got a Max auto to 25. I mean, I love those cards, and when I pulled them, I was completely pumped.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, the Superfractors, for some reason, like, I just love the Supers, I think just because they're so rare, and, even the 70th, maybe there's 2 of them. I don't know. They're not numbered, but they're still really rare, and that's the thing that I love. Is just like having rare cards. That's what I'm always after.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been chasing these.
Yeah, the 70th supers are always funny to me because like there's a chance that there's 2 of them for a certain. Because I know like there's a few of them that have the 2.
Yeah,
and it's really
there's the Kimmy's got 2. I've got one of the Kimmys. I know there's 2 of them.
That's why it's funny to like. It's funny because like from what I've seen, there's no real like correlation whatsoever which card has the second like one at all. Because like, which is the funny thing. Like there could be 2 like random F2s, like and like then there's like a base driver that has 2. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever.
I know there's also 2 of the Max. I've got one of the Max 70th of the picture of his head where he's wearing the hat.
Okay.
There's 2. I've got 2 Max Superfractors, and there's 2 of one of the ones I have as well. There's
Okay.
2 of it. I've seen I've had a copy, and then some guy on eBay was selling one. I was like, oh, okay, there's 2 of that one, but I haven't, other than the Kimmy and that one, I haven't seen 2 copies pop up.
Yeah.
On social media or eBay of any of the other guys. So I'm hoping they only release 2 of like a few of them and not all of them.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like there's I'm not gonna. There's definitely like there's some that like the people like I definitely know there's people like out there who like don't want to give that stuff away because like if like let's say like somebody has some like.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like those are gonna be so hard to find because like if somebody pulls one, like like people don't really want to like sell them ever. Like they're so hard to find. Like that's the thing. Like there's probably some of them that are like really really big cards, but like people don't want to like ever move them. So like you're never gonna see them ever.
Well, the thing is as well, and I've said this to a lot of people in the hobbies because I've seen it over time. Is if you're going for something. Or a set or something or whatever, or a rainbow. I know some guys do like prism rainbows, whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of want to keep it a little, which I've obviously let the cat out of the bag on my Instagram. You just got to look at my Instagram and see what I'm chasing. But you kind of got to keep it a secret because as soon as some of these guys know what you're chasing, they're going to try and get it, and then they'll buy it off someone, and then they know you want it, and they kind of hold you ransom to. Whereas for me, I've kind of been, like I said, with some of these on eBay, they've been there. I could buy them, but I'm just kind of like, all right, if the price is right, I'll go for it, and let's see how many I can get. But I'm not going to overpay for it. If someone has a car that I want and wants a stupid amount, I'll just be like, oh, whatever. It's not like an obsessive thing where I have to have every card and I'll do what I can. It's just, if the price is right, I'll get it, and it'll be great to have it as a collector, but it's not everything, And I think also having some of the bigger cards already that aren't supers, like the Hamilton Auto and that, it kind of makes me not so obsessive with picking up some of these one-of-ones, because I think, at the end of the day, even if I don't get the one-of-one of this or that, I've still got like the Hamilton Auto, the Max to 25 Auto, I've got the Vettel Red to 5, I've got a decent collection outside of the Superfractors, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just something I'm going for, and I'll see how many I get. Like I've always thought, maybe 2 years from now, I wonder if I can get 50 of them or something, because I'm at 26 now.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like overpay someone because he thinks that, oh, he's the super guy. I'll see if I can get 5,000 out of him. No, that's not me, dude. Like I'll pay market value, but yeah, if you want to hold me ransom, too bad. Like that's your tactic, but it's just for fun. You know what I mean? Just going for fun.
So I know. So I know you have to head out in a few minutes. So I have two more quicker things for you.
Yep.
So this is something like I've never like been able to understand. So I want to hear your perspective on it. Like I'm curious, like why. So like there's the printing plates.
Yeah.
But you can find printing plates for like really like fair prices, and it's always confused me because like if you look at the odds, printing plates are one of like the toughest pulls out of a product. But like,
is that for real? Are they really the hardest?
Well, they're one of the hardest because if you think of like each card will have 4 printing plates. Yeah. So you could say they're rarer than out of red 5s.
Yeah,
but
that's
like
a good point.
but the prices of printing plates like are so like incredibly cheaper than like so much other stuff, which is like and like I've always thought about buying like if I were to buy printing plates, could I like do well on the return? Because like, but are people really looking to go buy printing plates? Because like
for me, honestly, I've never been a fan of printing plates personally, and I've pulled quite a few of these in different sports and whatever.
Yeah.
I remember I even bought a case of National Treasures basketball about 4 years ago, and it was only $2,400 for the whole case. So, it was different then, and even then I thought I got burnt in my case. So I thought like, wow, that was like the biggest waste of money ever, and it was less than a box cost now, like half the price of a box. But anyway, I remember getting a printing plate one-of-one, and I think it was of like Garnett or someone.
Okay.
And that was probably like the only time I was like, oh, this is cool because it was out of National Treasures.
Yeah.
Like a really big product. But I have a Gia Venazzi auto printing plate I bought in Dallas. So I do have one in my collection. I had the Alacy, I pulled an Alacy auto one-of-one printing plate, but I sold it, and I don't know, this is just me personally, I've just never been a big fan of the printing plate. I think it's just because they look...
They just look strange.
Look so dull.
Yeah.
They just look dull, you know what I mean? Like when you see like a gold wave or a red wave or something, it's like, wow, this looks awesome, or even some of those sapphire cards, they look amazing, but the printing plate's going, oh, it's a one-on-one. Cool. It's, it just, I don't know. I've never been a big fan, but I think like LeBron James and whatever, I mean, if you have like Lewis printing plates long term, I mean, if you want as an investor, they might be worth a lot of money one day, Because like I've seen,
so like not the base. Okay, so I'll do this quickly for my last question, but I've seen like the Lewis like printing plates for like the driver of the days. Like you can pick up a printing plate for one of those for like $700-800.
Yeah.
Or even cheaper. So that's why I was thinking the question, like if I were to pick up a printing plate of like one of those, like I wonder how well that could do for me.
Yeah. Man, it's hard to tell.
But it's a hard guess.
Yeah, because I know even like if it's the right product, like say like Luka Doncic National Treasures rookie patch auto.
Yeah.
I know they have printing plates of those, like even the RPAs from National Treasures, And I mean, if you had like a Luka Doncic of that,
Yeah.
the Luka Doncic RPAs are selling for what, over 100K or something.
Yeah.
So the printing plate you think would be a bit of money as well.
Yeah.
I think if it's an iconic card, like even the Hamilton base might be a really good one.
Yeah.
But just overall, in general, to me, as the eye appeal is just not there for me. That's my opinion. It just,
Yeah.
they're just too dull for me. It's like reading the newspaper back in 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just like black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so my last question before you head out is,
Yep.
I have asked everybody this, and I was thinking like, if you had like something that you're like you don't have to give it away, but like, is there something that you're looking to target that you think that could do well for people who are watching, like a certain card or a certain driver? We kind of touched on it a little bit, so you could kind of say the same
Yep.
thing. But like, is there somebody that you're looking at as a slam dunk buy or a certain card or something like that?
I honestly think anything right now. This is just again my opinion and my perspective. I think Dynasty is gonna long term be something that I think people should look into.
Gotcha.
Is Dynasty cards, because when I say that is that the highest print run of any card is to 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, it's just low print of Hamilton, whoever, even George Russell, whatever. I know it costs a lot more. Obviously, for Hamilton, it's like 25,000, 30,000 or whatever they're going for.
Yeah.
But I think Dynasty, because the prices of box have gone up so high, you can still pick up a lot of these guys for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And even like a Hamilton, not Hamilton, a Russell, a box is what, 2,500 now. You could buy a good Russell for like 2,500
Yeah.
or 3K. So, if you pick that up and he does win it, if he wins even just one title, it's like Kimmy. Like Kimmy's only won one title, but still he's won a title.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Dynasty right now, even some of the lower end stuff, I've seen like you can get Giovanazzi's for $300 or whatever, which is less than half of the price of a box of Chrome.
Like when I went to Chicago, I bought 2 Latifi Dynasties. I bought one for $100 and one for $140. And the one for $140 was like the name patch, like with like the Tiffy at the end, and I was like, "There's no way there's no like way where I can't make money on paying $100 for a Dynasty card."
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So I'm thinking Dynasty is a good one if you have the money, obviously, to buy a Hamilton. Great, because I don't think you'll lose money on the Hamilton.
Yeah,
Max is pretty high, but still Max is Max, But I think with Chrome as well, I'm thinking if you have. It's a no-brainer. If you have the money, like, pick up Hamilton, because, Hamilton's going to be here, like, 50 years from now. People are going to talk about Lewis Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, like, Russell is one that I really like, but I think Russell and even Norris now, they're kind of a little bit higher right now.
That's like, I'm a big Russell guy, but, like, I've actually been selling, like, slowly trying to sell my base Russell, because, like, I think, like, $30 for a base Russell card is still high.
Yeah. So I think Russell, even though I believe in him long term, I think he's going to get announced. There might be a bit of a bump, and then I think there might be a little bit of a tail off for a little bit, where you can maybe pick some stuff up in like 6 months when it's off season. But like, I don't know. I just think Hamilton. And I've only got 2 Hamilton cards. I've got the variation, the base Chrome variation, and I've got the auto to 58. So
okay.
I'm not a big. I don't have a lot of money invested in Hamilton, but I think Hamilton is a no-brainer with pretty much anything. And I think I personally am now like thinking Topps Dynasty, because if Topps don't have baseball and to make, maybe next year there's going to be a lot of, or not next year or the year after, there's going to be a lot of like products with like patches and autos. They might bring out 3 or 4 different products. They might bring out 3 or 4 different Chrome. They might try and milk this like crazy, which would be awful because it would kill the value of everything from those years. But I think pretty much anything 2020 in general. I think 2020 Formula One product is gonna be, there's only 2 products. Yeah. So I'm focusing on this year's stuff. That's all I've been putting my money in. Even like Grosjean or whoever. Like I think long term this product's gonna be very iconic, and obviously Hamilton, Max are the main guys. Like if you can afford it, put your money in there. If not, look at Leclerc, Vettel.
Yeah.
And And the dynasty stuff, like if you can buy an RPA for $200 for Latifi or Giovinazzi,
Yeah.
I mean, it's $200. Like a box of Dynasty's $2,500. So it's not like you're gonna be disappointed. Oh, this Latifi card didn't go up in value. Oh well, try buying a box for $2,500 and then pulling a
Yeah.
Latifi. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that would be my advice to people. But everyone's different. Just buy what you like. At the end of the day, enjoy it. Whatever you enjoy. So
Yeah.
that's it
So
for me.
yeah, thanks for joining me. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. Like I said, everybody, I want to get everybody on again for a second time at some point. But
Yeah, cool, man.
yeah, so
I would love to
so
come
we can
back.
I can follow up, see how your supers are coming. Do you have what's your Instagram for people who are listening if they want to follow it?
Yeah, it's at Charger, CHARGER 21, and then it's like underscore.
Gotcha. And
So
then
yeah,
just right before I leave, do you believe in Herbert long term?
as a player, I do, and I'm a Chargers fan, obviously,
That's
and
why I wanted to ask you real quick before I left, just to end on a
yeah,
funny.
I honestly like last year was one of the best years as a fan for a long time because just added like that new energy to the team, and it was awesome. He was amazing, but at the same time, in terms of cards, I've sold all of my Herbert stuff just because. Unless he wins a Super Bowl from here, like it's all going to come crashing down. And I don't want to be negative. Like I'm the kind of fan where I was willing to give up my collection because I'm like, just win us a Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and I'll be happy with that. Even though I could have made, I don't want to make money out of you. Just win a Super Bowl for the Chargers, and that's enough for me.
yeah,
So it was kind of like I felt like a bit like, like a bad omen. I thought if I buy too much. This is just how Chargers fans think. If I buy too much of this guy and hold it, I'm gonna lose. You know what I mean? It was kind of like I just felt like just sell it,
yeah,
and he'll probably win us something, and that'll be better than not winning and having all this stuff. That was the way I was thinking about it. So I think long term he's going to be great. But the NFL, 32 teams. I mean, every year it's you're 1 in 32 chance, which those odds are
yeah.
pretty tough. So you know what I mean. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to this year, but. Just as long as he doesn't get injured, I think he'll be all right. It's just, how the NFL is. If you get injuries, it can change everything. So
Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
thank you for joining me. It was a lot of fun talking to you. Uh,
no, I appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you.
so yeah, for those watching, if you're still watching, I really appreciate it. I don't want to make them super super long, but it kind of just the conversations run their course. But yeah,
Yeah,
I try to.
we could talk for days, man. You know how it is.
Oh, I know. That's why. So I'll try to. I'm trying to bring one of these every week. I think in the next week or two, I might get. You'll know who this is, MQH on. I want to do a
Yeah, he's
little
good.
I want to do a little because he's a big Buffalo Bills fan, so I want to do like a little thing on the end where like I show my fantasy football team and he judges it. I thought that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I'll be back with some more videos in the following days, and hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you guys later.
All right, later, man.